My brothers and sisters in Christ, I must admit to you that rarely do I watch the regular news programs anymore in terms of the daily local or nightly local news. And the reason for this is simply that I find it to be counterproductive. Most of the important news stories can be found in other manners, but the difficulty I have with them is that the news has ceased to be that of disinformation, but a sense is frankly a drag. In this era in which disaster and death sells, the news seems to always just be 27, 28 minutes, not counting commercials, of stories about death and suffering and war and famine, and 20 minutes of COVID-19, and mostly just fear-mongering. And then usually there's something lighthearted for like 30 seconds at the end of the news, someone's birthday or something like that. But it speaks to the sense of our age. It's an age, the secularization of our day, that while there's many people who profess religious belief, and particularly in Christianity, profess faith in Christ, the world itself is adrift without hope. It constantly looks for salvation in things of politics or worldly devices or science or technology, all of these things. It ultimately looks for human solutions to problems that are beyond us. We can fix material issues, but we can't ultimately fix that which plagues the human heart, the reign of sin. We can do our own part, but only the Lord can redeem all of this. And so in today's gospel, we hear that Jesus, his heart is moved with pity for people, sheep without a shepherd. And he says something very important to his disciples, that the harvest needs laborers. And it reminds me of the early parts of the book of the prophet Isaiah, and we're hearing Isaiah throughout this season. But when he has a vision of the temple, in a sense, the heavenly host assembled, and the Lord saying, who will go and proclaim for us? And Isaiah says, send me. In a sense, Jesus, as he calls and sends his disciples forth, is saying the same thing. Who will be the mouthpiece of salvation? It is the Lord's work, his power to save, but he needs people to go and announce that good news. During the season of Advent, we're doing a lot of interior preparation, reflection, examination, but it also is important during these months that we be mouthpieces, that we be laborers in that harvest, in the vineyard of the Lord, that we go forth to proclaim the source that is our hope, in a world that seems to be without it, or at least without authentic hope. Its hope is more in terms of wishful thinking, or hopes that are constantly dashed by reliance on the wrong things. This is a season when we are called to turn to the world and show what is the source of our hope, the place that is our strength, the rootedness in our faith in Christ that gives everything meaning, that is the source of authentic hope, of deliverance, that which is promised and is already beginning to be fulfilled for us and for the world. The Lord asks, who can I send? The harvest is ripe. The laborers are few. Whom can I send? He asks of each of us. Will you go work in my vineyard? Will you proclaim my good news to those in darkness, those who need to see the light of salvation? Let us go forth.